Hello, my friends. Welcome to another day in Joe's Place. Today, we're going to be talking about politics. And, we have another election cycle coming at us this year. And we need to start thinking about who's going to be running the country for the next 4 years. We have President Biden and Trump trying to challenge him. Now, to make a proper decision, I think that we need to weigh some factors. We need to go under the skin of these two people and find out what are their intentions for their 4 years based on their actions so far. Now, when it comes to Joe Biden, we know that you know, he's done, you know what he's done. We know that he has committed some failures himself. He promised to eliminate student loan, but he has not done it for the majority of the students. He's done partially that for some students, but not for the majority. He promised to implement more strict electric vehicle policy, but he has not done that. Well, not that I can feel anyway in my day-to-day life. What he has done is he has staved off inflation caused by, and let's be honest, this inflation was caused by Trump and his tax breaks, which increased the deficit by about 20%. He is working with the result of bottlenecking that happened in the border during the COVID-19 pandemic. There is just no way. There was a bottleneck that happened and people were not allowed to pass, yet they stayed there waiting. Now, Biden, to be honest, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But he does not think he's smarter than everyone. See, that's a good thing. He does not think he's smarter than everyone, nor tougher, nor stronger. But what he has is he believes in the work of an organized team. He also has very good sense of who the American people are and which way they usually go. Now, during his years, right, Biden has expanded the American health care plan for most of us. Biden has brought unemployment to the lowest it has been for many decades. I mean, right now it's like if people are looking for a job, people can find a job. Well, if you are not in a specialized area. Now, another thing that I see about Biden, he has not belittled our allies. He has not kowtowed to Putin either. He understands, for example, that China, they're not our best friend. But we need China like we need every other country for our economic survival. He also understands our need for immigrants for our many products, and he understands that we need to have an orderly arrival. But by the same token, we are short on labor right now. So, he understands the problem. He knows there's a problem. He's trying to figure it out. Now, during Biden's presidency, this is another thing, we have not heard or read continuous tweets or interviews claiming, look at me, I'm your salvation, or look at me, I'm your retribution, nor a continuous barrage of attacks on news channels that disagree with him and his policies. None of the fake news, nor also no need to create alternative facts to excuse the president's blatant lies. These things bring a lot of calm to my soul. We have not heard of continuous rants about canceling news channels that do not represent him in a good light, which also Trump continuously used to do and still does it. Biden works with a team in the background and gets things done. He does not take credit for things he did not do. Biden works for Democrats and Republicans alike because Biden recognizes that we are all Americans. Democrats and Republicans are Americans and deserve to be at the table. We don't all get pie at the same time, but we all get pie at some time. The bottom line is half the team, if half the team is gone, you are only half as good. Biden understands this. Biden works the way that every American president has worked before him. That is what actually has made America great. Not by yelling to people, remember me, I'm your truth, I'm your salvation, whatever, because nobody is everyone's truth. Biden also understands that. He's a good leader. Biden walks softly, but he carries a big stick. He gets a lot of things done. By carrying a big stick, I don't mean he beats some people. He gets things done. Biden doesn't threaten and beg like a petulant child, but as a man assumes responsibility and carries on. Great leaders recognize that a nation can only move forward with the help of all of its people. Biden understands the need of a team, and he also understands that you do not fire people in the middle of a mission. It is one of the biggest problems that you can have. Biden is trying right now to get funding to help fix the border. Even though Republicans in Congress are opposing him under Trump's private advice, because he's still trying to move things under the water. However, Biden is truly a great negotiator. I suspect he will get his package through despite Trump's MAGA meddling, because Biden works for the Americans, not just his party. And everybody in Congress recognizes this. And they realize that, hey, you know what? This guy is not just about himself. So they tend to work with him. Now, finally, Biden is Biden the best that we could get? Well, no, he's not. I see Biden's policies as too far from Bernie's. For me, Bernie Sanders would have been the ideal candidate. Biden is not. I would have loved to have Bernie Sanders, but I think Biden is decent enough not to go around insulting people because he's a strong man. I could tolerate and work with Republicans, even like McCain, who at least have a sense of decency and respect for other citizens, which is available in Biden. I remember once when a woman started talking nonsense about Obama, McCain, God rest his soul, had the decency to tell her, no ma'am, Obama is a fine, decent person. We just disagree in policies. This is how a decent man, a decent leader addresses different opinions, and opinions that are like way out in the left field. Not just calling people horrible, and I'm yes, Trump, every time he gets questioned about something he doesn't like, oh, you're a horrible person. Instead of, hey, I don't have the answer to that, or, that question bothers me, Now, I don't know about you guys, but we already had 4 years of Trump. So we have a clear idea of what he is about. He promised to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. Well, that did not happen. He got built some semblance of a wall, but to do that, he took some funds from the federal government to fund some of his construction. Mexico never paid for a nickel of that wall, no matter what he tells himself at night. Now, when we had the COVID pandemic, Trump failed to act quickly and decisively, claiming it's going to go away on its own. Well, when he was asked at some point why he hadn't done anything earlier, he said, because I like the way markets are right now. This means that to Trump, the state of the market was more important than over 1 million lives that were lost during the COVID pandemic. Now, There's another item we need to consider, and it's composed of two. First, Trump facilitated a tax break for large corporations and millionaires, which is what created 20% of the deficit that Joe Biden has been kind of dealing with at this point in time. Secondly, he just kept printing money and distributed a large amount of it. I believe it was 3 times during Trump's presidency. And the problem is, yeah, people needed money. But the problem is that there was no fiscal responsibility. There were people that were working and still getting paid that got the money. There were people that were not working, getting paid by their corporation or by their office, and still got the money. So explain to me, and of course there were the people that were actually, hey, you can't work and we can't pay you. And yeah, they got the money, but guess what? They would have been in a lot better state if the money that was given to a lot of people that were working, that had money, if they had given that money to those people that didn't have work, that were not getting paid. Meanwhile, the pandemic was here, in order to help them get back on their feet better and faster. However, Trump had neither the desire nor the organization, I guess, to say, hey, let's arrange something here. No, there was nothing. Not even he didn't even attempt to do it. It was just, hey, send everybody money and we'll start getting money. Who's going to return the money once they have it? Nobody. Now, Trump showed us during his presidency that he was neither interested nor did he care much about anything except looking good and looking tough. Nothing that will solve the problem of working Americans or their small business. And it was proven because the majority of large business absorbed most of the money. And when the small business came around to, hey, we need money, it was like, yeah, well, I'm sorry, but it's gone. The large corporations, they really don't need that much money. Yeah, they got it. And there was nothing the small, moms and pops shops could do about it. So yeah, no, Trump does not care about the small businessman. Now, I don't know about you, but usually I don't vote for politicians who are not interested in improving anything about my life or my country. Despite doing all these things in his work of art, okay, because these things that he did basically cared, hey, whatever, you're just numbers to me and I don't care. But his creme de la creme was selecting enough conservative and pro-religious justices to the Supreme Court that they would go against the rights of women and their bodies. This was his gift to America, Trump's icing of the cake. Americans at this time have had enough. So when it came to election time, he was surprised that people voted him out, and his MAGA henchmen in Congress were stuck promoting the fraudulent idea that they somehow got cheated, even though they kept on beating at people with a stick of, we're not going to help you. So he lost the electoral and the popular vote. They still claimed that somehow they got cheated. The fact that his policies offended the memory and the reality of the United States of America and our basic principles, not just to ourselves, but also to our allies, because he broke friendships with everybody whom we already had deals and treaties with. When he realized that he had damaged his credibility with the majority of the people, especially in the overturning of the Roe versus Wade, using as a tool an over-conservative court, leading us into a quasi-theocratic legislation which is completely contrary to the United States of America. He then tried to influence people in the States to actually cheat with messages like, come on, all I need is 11,780 votes. How much is that? That's not what a president asks, anyone. The most the president in power should ask is go to court, present the evidence if they have any. But out of 65 or 70 cases, he got rejected in all of them because all he had is hearsay. He had no actual evidence of anything. The courts did not find that he had any evidence, but when he continued trying to influence by having all sorts of fraudulent plays to reject the results of the election with the claim that the Democrats cheated, he was willing to, and this is a big, you guys got to understand that, he was willing to nullify my vote and the vote of 81,282,915 U.S. citizens, while sending a few thousand of his followers to commit crimes that would cost them jail. He didn't care. He didn't care he would nullify my vote or that the other guys, because they were so angry, would go to jail and not think about it. The plain truth is he miscalculated and used policies that were unpopular with most American citizens. 51% when it came to the voting booth said, enough, we don't want a circus anymore. That is it. It's as simple as that. Trump is a failure not just because he lost. He lost. That's fine. But because he did not lose with dignity. Trump's policies were a failure during his presidency, and the people expressed that as such during the voting. Just because the majority of Americans did not go with sticks and stones does not mean that we were not there. We voted, and we voted him out, and that is it. And he can't handle it. He is not emotionally mature enough to handle what most people would understand with dignity. Hey, I lost. All right, that's it. We went to the courts. The courts said, no, I don't have any evidence. Okay, it's done. Now, as far as the policies for abortion, it's not that he cares about children or that he has ever been religious. He's just a great people user. The unborn to him is just another tool to motivate people to get emotional for him. He said it as much in one of the latest shows when he was questioned about how far are you willing to go with abortion prohibition. His response was, well, we have to win elections. So he's pulling back a little. A nickel too short, a minute too late. We know who he is. He has said it, he has claimed it, and those who don't listen, I hope will not be sorry about the choices that make and wake up in an America that they don't recognize the day after tomorrow. We do not need a president who belittles and dehumanizes those who don't agree with him. We're not in high school. We need to work together to continue forward. A kingdom divided upon itself will surely fail. Trump has made sure to accent our differences just so he has a chance to be king for a day, and another day, and another day, and so forth. He has claimed he doesn't care if the country goes in recession as long as he's not there when it happens. Now, how much of an American citizen is he? Does he really care? I don't care if he was born in the middle of Washington. Somebody that thinks like that about his country is not an American citizen. I can't tell you whom to vote for. I'm not. I can share my observations of those in the competition right now. Now there's a final question. Which of these two presidents, or the two people, Trump has been a president, Biden is the president right now, but which of the two can ride a bicycle, fall off, and still get up? I don't, just in case age is a factor, and acuity and the ability to do things, you want to see who's dynamic? Watch somebody on a bike. But anyways, now there's a post data. the MAGA congressmen have decided that they want to be an obstacle to the immigration problem. They want that problem to remain so during elections, Trump can use it against Biden. So they have opposed Biden funding, and they kind of want the economy to crash because they don't want to negotiate so that everything stays in chaotic stance. They have the ability to fix it. See, that's what's sad. Republican congressmen have the ability to help fix the problem right now, but they won't because they want to have Trump reelected. For what? You know, that's the question, you know. Now, these are congressmen acting under Trump's private advice. Their constituents are asking, hey, fix the border. Trump says, don't fix it. And what are they doing? They're not listening to their constituents. So they're not being democratic. They're not following the principles of freedom. But they're actually following the principles of Trump, which is not going to be pretty, because if you lose the chance to fix a problem sometimes, then later on you can't fix it. Now, am I biased? Yes, I am biased. I am biased towards the survival of my country as a true democracy. I do not want a theocratic country. I do not want an authoritarian country. I want a president who has shown to be capable and able to work with democratic principles, not a man who glorifies totalitarian leaders and wants to be dictator for a day. I want a president who is held to higher standards, who knows that he can be brought to trial for crimes against the nation and their people, including fraud, insurrection, and murder. I think that we have a lot of thinking to do, because during these elections, there is kind of a path that seems to be highly divided. And I do believe that the majority of us will show up to vote and will make the right decision. And I hope those that are still stuck on their ways will eventually see that the way that the majority of us want to go is the best way for this country. Piece of advice. When you say, I think, therefore I am, does not have the same validity as I think you are, therefore you are. When we think about what others are and do, we need evidence other than what our thought tells us. Well, I think he's doing that. He must surely be doing that. No, if you don't have the hairs of the donkey in your hand, you can't really say what color he was, especially if it's the middle of the night. And the one final thought, if you can't find any fault with your leader, you're in a cult. We will have more of this in the future. For today, this is it. I think that I have gone longer than I actually wanted, but I hope that you guys enjoy this and think about it. My program is not just about entertainment, but about making us think, using the head and saying, hey, well, which way is this going? And this year is going to be a lot about elections because that's where we're at, you know. And there's going to be other videos probably about how religion affects the ways that people think during these particular elections. It didn't used to be so much of a problem. This time it really is. And we need to be awake in order to look at these things. So anyways, have a good one, guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'll miss you. I'll see you later. Hey, don't forget, press a like, follow, and you can see more of this content that I publish.